Hello and welcome to a new podcast series brought to you by BMW. And this series is all about electric myths, which means we're going to be busting them. We're going to be talking about all those myths, common myths that people talk about when thinking about buying electric vehicles. To start with, I'm your host, Tommy. I'm a tech reviewer and also review many cars. And I'm here with my co-host, Charlie.
Hi folks, I'm Charlie. I'm a racing driver and I'm going to bring you a bit of racing insight into this podcast series.
Amazing, and I cannot wait. And we are currently in this amazing location, this building, BMW Welt, which is currently busy. There's a lot going on. We have electric cars all around us, people picking up new cars. It's an amazing place and an iconic, if I can get my words out, iconic building.
It certainly is a very futuristic looking building right in the heart of Munich, where we've got the BMW Tower right over the road. We've got the BMW factory where they're making the 3 and 4 series. So this is, about as close as you can get to the beating heart of BMW.
That's it. I can't think of a better place to be for this podcast. And we're also recording it in an amazing electric car. This is the BMW iX M60. It's fantastic, fully loaded with loads of tech.
Yeah, BMW's flagship model. It's a beautiful place to be sat right now doing this podcast.
It's capable, fun facts for you, of 563 kilometers on the WLTP.
Seriously?
Yep, which brings me to our first myth today, which is range. Electric cars, people say they don't have enough range. In fact, 31% of customers thinking of going electric think it's not going to fit into their lifestyle. They think, it's not enough range, I have to keep charging it and all these things. How does that sound to you? Is it true?
I don't think, evidently 31 people do have this misgiving, but
31%.
31%. So 31 people.
Imagine 31 people.
Yeah. I can understand people having this anxiety over range because I'll be honest, I've driven electric cars. Funnily enough, a lot of it's been on a racetrack. So I do have that slight anxiety if I was to maybe do a long journey in an EV. Am I gonna run out of power? What's gonna happen? You're an EV owner yourself. You're very well qualified to give me some of the real facts around this.
In fact, I have a lot of insights into the world of EVs because I've been driving it now for a very long time, and I do get people's skepticism at first when you tell them about EVs and they're worried about the range because you're thinking, I'm going to go visit my niece, my nephew somewhere, and I might not get there, I might break down. But that is actually not true because most people, on average, they do just over 30 kilometers every day on average, which, to be fair, every car is capable of doing that. And you can charge it. Every EV is capable of doing that. You just have to charge it every night.
So doing some quick maths actually on what you've just said, if you were doing that kind of range, you're probably going to be charging once a week, potentially.
That's it. You can charge it every week, once a week, or you can plug it in every night because it's so easy, they're so accessible for charging. But yeah, you're right. Once a week will do you a whole world of good.
And some of the things that we were talking about a moment ago, actually, what are the things that affect your range, right? What are the factors that come into play here? An obvious one I can think of is your payload. How many people are you carrying? Are you carrying any luggage? Things like the weather. If it's particularly hot, you might be running your AC. If it's cold, you've got your heated seats on, maybe running your stereo. A big part of it, of course, is your driving style.
Absolutely. So those things that you mentioned there. So the first one, payload in the car, how many people you have in the car? That's exactly the same scenario with ICE cars. So if you carry more people, your car's going to scientifically or, physics, you're going to use more energy in the process.
Right. Whatever car you're in, you can't get around that.
You can't get around that. So that's just common knowledge. The second bit, which is, your driving style. Again, if you're putting your foot down everywhere all the time and, driving erratically, you're going to end up using more energy. That's, again, obvious.
And one of the things actually to mention here is the fact that, so when you're accelerating in an EV, you're using power, but when you're braking and decelerating, you're putting power back into the battery, right?
Yes, called energy recuperation.
Energy recuperation, that was it.
Yeah.
So you're actually, if you're driving around a city, for example, that's actually way more efficient than in a combustion engine car.
Absolutely, because if you do the same in a combustion engine car, it's not going to put more fuel back into your car.
I've never noticed that phenomenon happening in my car.
The day that we see that, no, it's never going to happen. But in an electric car, you put energy back into the car. So you're actually gaining range in the city by driving, when you're starting and stopping. And if you live in an area where you have, uphills, downhill kind of scenario, every time you go uphill, yes, you're going to use more energy. But when you go downhill, you can coast.
Right, okay.
Which means you pour more energy back into the car again.
And actually, it's really about just, thinking and looking ahead. And I remember when I was learning to drive, my driving instructor saying to me, look down the road. If the traffic lights are red, why are you accelerating?
Exactly.
You should be coasting.
You can start coasting.
And BMW actually have a system with is it called the one
pedal drive?
One pedal drive, that's it. So when you take your foot off the pedal, the car starts decelerating.
Yeah.
And it encourages, if you tried this, honestly, I'd encourage anyone to give it a go if you've got the opportunity to try a BMW EV, because it puts you in this very different mind in terms of how you drive in a very economical way, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Do you have any tips for us in terms of increasing the range or keeping that range intact?
So one really interesting thing here is that you can precondition your battery so that you when you're charging it, you keep it in a state that actually it's more conducive to accepting that charge.
Okay.
And that can help extend the range.
Nice, which is great because it means you can precondition it before you reach a charging point. You can precondition it in the morning before you start driving, so it's more efficient, right?
That's it. So just by heating the battery up a little bit, it puts it in a state that's actually going to mean that battery usage is more economical. It's going to give you more range.
So I think on this myth, I think we'd definitely bust this one, because as an EV owner myself, I don't see range as an issue at all. Once you get used to the world of charging it regularly, when you need to charge it, you're planning better, using your one pedal drive if you need to, for example, range is not an issue. And then once you start to fit it into your lifestyle, when you see that actually I'm only doing 20 miles or 30 miles or whatever weekly or daily, whatever much you use it, you realize actually it works really well. There's no problem.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've pretty much blown this myth out of the water, quite frankly.
Yes, I think range anxiety 0, BMW Podcast Series 1.
There we go, folks. The scores are on the board.
Right, guys. I hope you've learned a thing or two in this episode. We are going to be back for more episodes, busting some of those electric myths on this new podcast series. Make sure you like, subscribe, share with other people as well. And thanks for watching. Shall see you in the next one.
So long.